Good morning, everybody. Let's go ahead and get started. Let me know if you guys can hear my audio and see my screen in the chat box. Just give me a little Y or a yes there, just to let me know that it is working. Hope everybody's having a fantastic morning. Hopefully your evening was awesome. I'm excited to make some pips today. Today's going to be honestly a seriously awesome day. I've got some really cool stuff to show you guys, and we're going to take some really awesome trades. I'm also going to show you a couple of trades we took last night. Obviously, we took that pound franc short. It smashed the take profit. I posted that one in the Telegram channel. I'll tell you why I took that trade, and just kind of our response to some of our other trades we took yesterday, and then obviously moving forward, what trades we're taking today. So we got a lot of stuff to get through, but before we get into any of that fun stuff, I got to go over the disclaimer. So real quickly, as always, I got to remind you guys about the risks involved in the market. You can lose all or more than your initial investment if you're not careful. So please be aware of how big your lot size is, in addition to how many pips you're risking on each trade, and ultimately how that would affect your account if you were to lose money. So make sure that you're going through that process each and every time. All right, guys. So let's take a quick look at the charts. There's actually not a ton of opportunities at the moment, similar to yesterday. So you look at the euro franc, you just kind of in the middle of the range here. You look at the euro pound. Actually, wait a second, but I got to check something. I got to check a couple of things. Let's take a look at the news on the euro pound here, Forex Factory. What was the news like last night? Just we just have those elections, so go and vote, right, if you haven't already. And then you've got Aussie news last night, but other than that, should be good for all of our favorite pairs. This might be a quick opportunity that we could jump into. I just want to check real quick one more thing, make sure this is a good trade. Yes, the only thing is, if the bottom wanted to fall out on this guy, like there's really no hope for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy a couple of trades on the euro pound. But I'm gonna have a much tighter stop loss on this one because I don't see a lot of hope for us. There's really not a lot of stuff stopping this market if it wanted to break below this low. So I'm willing to, sure, I'll take the signal. I'll take this trade for as long as this bottom holds. But if it does not hold, I can't do it. Can't justify this trade. So I'll take one more order. Okay. Perfect. So I'll just put in a starter position right here. Just had a recent bust in that Bollinger Band right here, just barely. And so I wanted to see if I can, grab this, hang on to this, get a little rally with this to, 10 to 11 pips, and then maybe hold on to a trade or two for the long haul. I think that's a good setup. Let's real quick take a look at the pound franc. It's probably similar, just on the opposite side. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, euro pound's fine. We can go with that guy again. I was kind of mad, I stopped out of the euro pound last night because we started, if you guys remember, we started buying the euro pound like basically right there. And it did come down, we bought into it, but it just went a little too far for comfort, right? And then it did fade back up. Like we would have gotten all of our money back and some had we stayed in it. So that was a little bit of a bummer. I did, as you can see, I did do a lot of trading last night. I made 1,386 pips last night trading, and a 7.33% return on my account. On my FTMO account, I made $6,704 in my FTMO account last night. And I'm going to show you exactly what I did to do that. On a lot of it actually kind of had to do with the banker's close in a way, but I just wanted to, but I've added in a couple of other things that I think will be very helpful. Some stuff that maybe we should have looked at yesterday in terms of the banker's close, but This should be a good trade. I'm excited for it. So go ahead and make sure you got your starter position in. Let's go ahead and place a couple of targets on this trade, and then I'll show you some of the things that we should have done, some of the things that we did do. Like we'll take a look at that other trade. So I'm going to scatter some of my targets kind of through this range right here. You know, just kind of where the mid Bollinger Band is. Take a lot of our profits right in there. So I'm up 1386 today, 1,386 pips today. Anything beyond that is pips we've made together. Although some of those pips were made on that signal I sent out last night on the pound franc. So hopefully you guys were able to catch that. If not, that's fine. We'll get you another trade. Great. I'm actually going to leave one trade just as a more hopeful type of order. Like, you know, hey, I love it when I can, you know, if I can get all these trades to hit their targets and then leave one to, you know, go 24 pips, 25 pips or something like that. But yeah, let's let that do its thing. You know, it's technically got the signal that you'd be looking for at this time of the day. All right, guys, so let's recap that pound franc. So I sent out an alert, if you look at the Telegram, to short. One second. I sent out a signal to short the pound franc, or excuse me, yeah, the pound franc last night right here. So like the euro pound, this guy and the euro franc, our three favorite pairs, went a little bit more than what we would want the trade to go. You know, like we got the signal. Let's say you were shorting the pound franc, it just kept on going up a little bit more and more and more. And then eventually it found its top, right? And this happens all the freaking time. And it kind of annoys me when it does it like this because, you know, we can stomach a little bit of a drawdown, but, you know, when the thing goes against you 30 pips before it goes in your favor on a scalp trade, it really stinks. Like, you know, it's like I might as well just get out, which the numbers say, well, how do I say it? Most of the time, the trade will come back in your favor. Like I really mean most of the time, like 95% of the time. If you wait 12 hours on a banker's close trade, the trade will come back to your original entry. Like most of the time it will happen. But the problem is that there is that 5% of the time where it doesn't. And you can get really burned if you don't have a stop loss mechanism. So that's why I say the numbers technically say you should stop out, you know, if the trade goes against you like 20 pips or so on the pound franc. I'm still back testing the euro pound and the euro franc, but if anything, those ones would probably say stop out. You know, if you're down 10 pips or down 15, you should probably stop out because they have smaller ranges than the pound franc does. But yes, good stuff there. So this original signal, if we pull up the actual charts on the pound franc, we got a signal to sell this guy. Let's see, our class started right. When did we start our class? 4 p.m. GMT yesterday. This is where we were. That's where we started. This is the end of the class right here. Okay, so if we zoom in, you can see the signal came pretty early, like, right? You know, that's a signal to sell, right? You're in the banker's close hour and right here is a signal to sell. Problem is that every once in a while you get like that type of a move and it's just too much, right? You just can't stomach that. And that was 46 pips against us. But ultimately, this trade actually not only pulled back, it actually gave you back some during the afternoon. But if you had waited the 12 hours, boom, you go back to the original signal and some, right? Now, the reason why I felt more comfortable to re-enter on this, so we actually didn't trade this one. We traded the euro pound last night, if you guys remember, or yesterday morning. The reason why I felt really comfortable with this is because I've been working with order flow recently. I don't know if you guys are very familiar with order flow and depth of market and things like that, but I was looking at the pound franc specifically, and I'll show you, there's a couple of indicators on TradingView that are free that you can use. I'm just using the Sonar Lab order block indicator as well as the volume profile from Lux Algo. They're pretty, those guys are pretty big, Lux Algo. But yeah, if you pull up, like say the pound franc, did I not type it in right? Oh yeah, GB, not GPP, it's GBPCHF. Here we go. So I was looking at this last night, and what I found, let me see if I can get this to show up. Come on. That's fine, whatever. A couple of things. So wherever there's a lot of volume in the market, a lot of the times the market will try to go back to where volume was and form support or resistance at where volume was at its peak. As long as there's a signal to go back there, right? And so these blue boxes are order blocks. So these are institutional order blocks where the big banks have sold, made big sells essentially in the market. The big green boxes, these are big order blocks that are, these are banks that are buying, right? When I was looking at this last night, we were up here in a sell order block. And then if you went back to where our original sell order was, that's where we had initially got the sell, was right here. If you go back and look at this, the market would like, there was kind of like a peak right here in volume. And so I thought, okay, well, this is going to at least come back to where we had our original signal, probably a little more, and it did. It came back a little bit more. But I wanted to be careful too, because there were a lot of buy boxes down here, a lot of buy order blocks where institutions were buying. Like if you switch down to a 15-minute chart, this is what I saw. I saw, okay, hey, we're at the top here. We're hanging out here up all afternoon. There's a lot of institutions selling it up here. And there's also a lot of volume in this area, right? Like you can see the spike in volume right here. The market wants to gravitate to where volume is in a lot of cases. And again, as long as there's a signal to go to that volume. And there was, because, hey, this market was hitting up against some institutional sell order blocks at the end of the day here. This is a sell area. Let's go ahead and short this. So that's why I sent out a signal to short. Basically, we never took the pound franc banker's close. We took the euro pound, but we would have been stuck in the pound franc just like we would have been stuck on the euro pound. And I just really liked the order flow version of that currency pair yesterday in comparison to some of the other trades we were looking at. So that's why I did this one. And that was a good trade. The one trade I wish I had really sent out. So I made most of my money. Oh, nice. Hey guys, let's take a look at this. We're up on this trade here. We'll come back and nice. So got a nice little push to the upside here. We're not done yet, right? We got to let this keep going. Hit that mid Bollinger Band, which we have not done yet. I'm actually going to bring this one target just a little bit closer, maybe like that. Sounds good to me. 1380. So yeah, anything beyond 1386 is our profits we made today. So yeah, let me show you how I made this monster trade. Like this is probably the biggest trade I've made in the last 30 days, to be honest. So, and it was using the same concept I just showed you. So I shorted the USD CAD and bought the euro dollar last night. Let me show you. So this is where I made all my money. I made $6,700 on that move right there. And I'm kind of really excited right now because most of that money was made in the last hour, but it's research I did last night and some stuff that I did that helped me be in a position to be able to make that type of a trade. So let me show you kind of the ins and outs of this. So this dollar CAD had basically, if you go back and look at a higher time frame, I don't know, 15-minute hour chart, maybe go to hourly actually might be best to start. So this guy had on a much larger time frame, right? Several months here, you can see this huge head and shoulders up here, right? And then this market had come down and hit a support level. And a lot of the times I like to buy here, just like a lot of you do. You know, I see this and I'm like, oh man, this looks really awesome. I bet you a lot of banks are buying here. But when I came back over here, pulled up the dollar CAD, watch this. There were only sell blocks in these low levels. Like the banks were only selling at a support. I was like, what? They're only selling at the support level. Like what, who does that? You know, you're supposed to buy at support, right? But anyway, so I mean, and obviously support breaks, right? Support is meant to break at some point, right? We can all agree to that. But I mean, I saw that and I thought, well, maybe it's a fluke. Let me go look at another pair with the dollar. So I looked up the euro dollar to see what the euro dollar was doing. And if you look at this guy, it was also, you know, it made this low down here, buy block, another institutional buy block, another institutional buy block. They bought again right here. Now they're in a little bit of a sell block now. So we'll see what happens. But that was on a 15-minute chart. If you look at the hourly chart, um, it's just massive buy blocks, like multiple overlays of institutional buy blocks on the euro. And this is where it was last night. And then if you scooch back a little bit on the higher time frame, you'll see that you're not even at resistance yet. And you've got this big institutional buy block. So what does that mean? Oh, institutions are going to send this higher tonight. And I have confirmation because I have another pair that's connected to the US dollar that has the same signal, right? When the euro dollar is a buy, the USD CAD would technically be a sell if your focus is just isolating the dollar, right? Because you got the dollar as the quote on the euro dollar, and then you've got the dollar as the base on the USD CAD. So they kind of do the opposite of each other. Again, that's only if you're isolating the dollar itself, right? So anyway, I was like, okay, we got a signal here. Let's go ahead and buy this. So I basically did like an anti-martingale type of thing where, you know, you come over here and you basically, you know, if I started selling, um, I started selling this, I think, where did I start selling this guy? I think it was right in here. So I just basically placed sell, 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 and I wasn't in all of these. These basically triggered over the morning, right? Like they entered and made their runs in the morning here. So let's actually, let me go ahead and plot the trade so you can see kind of how it was set up, how I took this trade. Yeah, there it is right there. So basically, you know, basically I didn't go all in on the trade. I just started selling here. In hindsight, I wish I had just gone all in originally, right? But you do want to be careful. Like even the best trades, like you don't want to go all in on because otherwise you'd just be gambling, right? But I just thought to myself, hey, if this thing just keeps going down, I'll increase the stakes, you know, so I'll add more to the sell. This is kind of the opposite of what we do. Like right now with our bankers close trade, because we're trying to catch an extreme move to send it the other way, we kind of scale in when it goes against us, which isn't necessarily bad. It's just the way we trade the, you know, the bankers close. This one, I was thinking, you know, hey, if this signal strengthens, if it continues to bust lower, let's just go ahead and get in like this. And yeah, so I just continued to sell up until this level. And then I got out here. There's a reason why I got out here in this area. So again, if you go back to that order block on the USD CAD, you'll see, actually, I'm a little early. I probably got out a little early to be honest, but this was the last buy institutional order block. So anything between this support level and here is where like there's nothing that will stop the market. Absolutely nothing that will stop the market because there aren't institutions buying just below this. Their mind is, hey, we're on a freeway, right? You guys have heard this example from me before, right? You're on a road trip cross country. You're coming to visit me in Utah, right? And you got to stop at the gas station. And in between the gas station, there's no gas station for miles. Like, have you ever driven through Kansas? No offense to anybody in Kansas, but like I've driven through Kansas. It takes all day to get across that state. Like if you go from Kansas City all the way to, Denver, like it is just so freaking long, right? um, you, the the market looks at that and says, hey, I got to strategically find my pit stops along the way. And the market looks at this and says, hey, there's really no pit stop until here. And so really that's the next stopping point. So if anything, now is still probably not a good time, probably not a good time to be buying the USD CAD just yet, but maybe potentially looking at buy opportunities here. But even then, from a structural standpoint, like where is really that next level of support, right? Honestly, probably not until these order blocks down here. So I would actually be kind of skeptical of buying the dollar for the next little while until it hits one of these next order blocks. But that was just a tremendous trade opportunity. It was just like, just perfect, right? We'll find more of those. In fact, I actually have another one lining up right now. I'll show you that. But before I do that, I just want to check on our trade. Let me check on this guy. So how's this doing? So it looks like it's just kind of whatever. Yeah, just whatever. Yeah, hopefully we can get another little push here. Yeah, like driving across Texas. Yeah, I know, seriously. I have got some family that lives in Denton, in the like the outskirts of Denton. They say Denton. But we drive from their house to Arlington or Fort Worth or Dallas, and it just feels like it takes forever. But yeah, no, that's awesome. Anyway, one little side note on this before we move along and I show you that other trade I was going to potentially take. You got these little pin bars right here. I don't know. Anyway, it just makes me think, hey, I think we're going to get a little move. And the other thing is too, to be honest, I did check this order flow on the smaller time frame, actually the higher time frame. If you look at the 1 hour here on the euro pound, we're in a buy order block, right? So and we're in a banker's close opportunity. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a better trade to take because we are in a buy order block. Now, like I said, pit stop concept, right? Below this level, that previous low, there's no institutional interest between here and all the way to here. That's 100 pips away. So if we do break that low, I'm going to just let the market take my money. Like you can take my 15 or 10 pips of loss because I am not holding on 100 pips on this trade, right? Because like I said, there's really not an institutional interest below that low all the way until this base down here. So that's something to be aware of. Now, really cool trade that I'm thinking about taking as a longer term setup. When I say longer term, something that'll last a couple of days, maybe max a week. So it's a swing trade, right? It's this guy right here, and I'm kind of late to it. This was the other trade I was going to take last night, but I put all my money on that dollar CAD and euro dollar, so I don't feel too bad because I did capture a type of move last night. But here's where we're at with this guy. So if you look at the hourly time frame, again, using some of these awesome indicators, we're talking about the order blocks from Sonar Lab. You can get that on TradingView. It's free. And I'm also looking at the volume profile. And I'll show you why the volume profile, how I use that in just a second. But basically, first of all, take note how there is really nothing where the market is right now. So there's really not a lot of buys in here. There's not a lot of sells. And it's interesting to note that there's not a lot of institutions selling at this level. Basically, they're not interested in selling unless what happens? We fill in the void. We fill in the rest of the cup, right? This is going to be a cup and handle pattern. It's already finishing up, like, bottom of the cup. And then, you've got this, oops. And then we're going to fill in the top of the cup right here. You've got an extra, I know we missed out on perhaps 35, 40 pips of movement last night, but there is, to be honest, still probably 100 pips to be made on this trade. Minimum target would be an extra, it looks like institutions start selling in about another 35 pips away. But that's like almost guaranteed that you'll make that. To be honest, I don't think it'll stop until you get up into here and fill in the void. So I do believe that's a 100 pip trade, and it's not going to take many days. Like I'm saying, like this is going to be, I mean, how long did this take? I mean, this has been a while. Like that was mid-October when it made that low, but we're already 80% through the move. I'm just saying that you can capture the last 20% of this longer term move, and there's a good chance you'll make money with it. And there's a couple of reasons. Again, we've just got an unlimited amount of institutional buys down here, and there's still no sells in sight up until, like I said, well, up here there are. So I think this thing is a buy still. And then if you look at the daily chart, this is where the volume indicator comes into play. Check this out. Again, markets like to return to volume. So this, actually drew this out. This is the peak of volume right here. So there is a signal to return to this peak of volume, and that is at basically 60 cents on the dollar. So we're at 0.58975. You've got a whole penny to make between here and here. It's 100 pips to hit the peak of volume. I really think you're going to get to that. That's going to be a 100 pip trade. And so I think I'm going to take that signal. I think that's actually going to be something that I take with you guys. I'll probably post that this morning. Like I'll clean it up, make it a very well packaged trade with a very official stop loss and take profit, and with some more information behind it for those that aren't in the webinar. But yes, that's going to be a really, really fun trade. Now, don't go mortgage your house and do, take the trade with a huge, massive trade set up because you want to make all this money. I will probably be sending a lot of these types of trades. I've had a lot of people, I've been trying to, as you guys know, I'm building my community back up again. You're starting to see fewer, more and more people come to these webinars. I just got kind of back up again coaching about a month ago. And so I'm trying to do things to get more people to come. And one of the things that people have been asking me to do is like, hey, can you help me? A lot of people don't have the luxury to just like leave work and watch these classes unless you're retired or whatever. Or you can work from home and take an hour to come to my classes, which I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to come to these. I will do the best I can to make this extremely valuable to you and your family, to the point where like, hey, I can make a living doing this. Like I can actually be successful. But with that in mind, I want to give more value to the folks that, hey, the ones that are like, hey, I can't come, Steve, I'd love to come, but I have this day job. So what can I do? Maybe give you more signals like this. And I think this is just the thing that might be perfect. But yeah, like I said, this is another trade I'm thinking of taking. Again, if you look at the volume, there's a lot of volume in this area on the daily chart that needs to be filled in at some point. If there's a signal, and there is, right? Like you go to the hourly, if you come to the hourly here, again, only buy order blocks sending this up. There's nothing in between here and here stopping the sellers. Like that's a guaranteed, almost guaranteed, better be careful here, almost guaranteed 40 or 35 pips that it can be made. So I will be putting a big trade in between here and here to capture that extra 35 pips. And then I will try to go for 100 total. And you will get that trade from me in Telegram in just a little bit. All right, guys, looking good with our other trade, euro pound here. It's getting pretty close to it's getting pretty close to the mid Bollinger Band. Any moment now we'll be done with it with most of our trades. Kind of exciting stuff, to be honest. In fact, I'll show you on my FTMO account. Like I literally, and I took a loss yesterday on that euro pound. You can see right here, these are all my losers on the euro pound. It really stunk, like minus 116, minus 174, a lot of minus nearly $200 trades. But then this trade with the USD CAD last night just made everything right using that volume, right? Each trade's up 600, 500, maybe $400 each trade, and I took 12 or 14 trades, something like that, for a total of $6,700 of profit. So super, super awesome. Really exciting to see that. All right, well, I can just barely see that we barely hit the mid Bollinger Band. We should probably close out at least one of these trades. I'll close out the least profitable, which is 6.3 pips. And then probably leave some of, I'll probably close out one more, honestly. We really should book at least one more thing of profit, and then I'll leave the other two to ride here. Yeah, I'll let that guy go. At this point, we should really bring these stop losses in quite a bit because it's already decided to make this low. So I'm bringing these stop losses at least to there. If we hit this next take profit, I will bring the last stop loss to break even and let that trade just be a free trade at that point. I am curious to see how some of these other trades played out. Let's take a look at the pound franc. It's actually not doing as well in comparison to what we traded. And to be honest, I really just cheated and I went to the order flow. I pulled up the euro pound to decide which banker's close would be best, and I decided the euro pound just because we are in an institutional order block right here to buy. If you look at conversely, say again the pound franc, we're actually in a sell order block right now, which actually is good. We're right because they do the opposite of each other. But we're really close to a buy order block. So I don't know how far it would come down. It seems like this block is much bigger. There's a lot more stuff going on here. I believe they're trying to send this even higher. So, I think this smaller order block is going to get crushed ultimately. So I didn't like that one as much. And then you look at the euro franc. That one's actually good. Like it's in there's a lot of cells up here, right? And you can't really find a lot of cells above it just because we haven't been up there in a little bit. The last institutional cell was, up here. So if we break through these levels, the next pit stop is up here. So I wouldn't be selling anywhere in between this void right there. All right. But so far, good day, right? Good day. And we'll get another good trade posted, right? I'm probably going to post that euro. I'm probably going to post that. What did I say? It was the Kiwi franc on the hourly. Really like this guy for continue to buy. You can look at others too. I mean, I just look at even this Aussie CAD on the hourly, which by the way, from what I've learned about order flow, it's much better to use a higher time frame when you're using order flow, just because the, obviously that's naturally what the banks are going to be doing, is trading on a higher time frame. This one looks like maybe continued to buy, like a continued buy, like there's no interest to sell this all the way up until here, right? So if there's no interest to sell, you might as well keep buying. That could be a good one. Same thing with this guy, honestly, the Aussie Franc, like this might just continue to find, I mean, if it does pull back, it's just going to pull back into a support and then just continue higher until it finally does break up into here. This one's kind of far away from a lot of orders, so I don't know about that. This is an interesting one, like with this Aussie Kiwi. You're actually not seeing a lot of banks buying right here. They're buying right down here. So my guess is this is like an example of like a stop hunt. If the market, when it's ready to go up, it's going to come down here, stop everybody out in this order block, and then it's just going to go up from there, right? How many of you have seen that? Like everybody, you've seen everyone stops, get taken out, and then the market goes in your favor. Yep. But yeah, anyway, I won't keep switching the frame on you there. Like I said, I really like this one just because I've looked at it from a 15-minute, I looked at it from an hourly and from a daily, and I really like the combination of signals that we're seeing. All right, let's see. Are you going to finish this out today? Are we going to get a win here? I guess we've already taken a win, right? We booked 2 trades. And this might be one of those things you just have to wait on. You just have to wait for it to make its break higher. Oh man, it's just being slow, being slow on us. This might be one of those things where it just kind of settles in, and then later in the morning, it just fades up later. I've seen that happen a lot. Or heck, maybe it'll come down and hit those tight stop losses. Whatever it wants to do. Again, I just want to see that euro pound again on here. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there on the hourly, looks like there's a little bit of buying pressure happening right here. I don't know how long that'll last, just because it is one block. It's not like multiple. When you see multiple blocks like that, yeah, there's something going on, right? Like that's something that's a big deal, noteworthy. Yeah, and like on the 15-minute chart, there's actually no block right here. So, I don't know how long that'll hold, but let's see. Let's take a look at 4 hour. There is a lot of volume up in here. So kind of makes you think the market may try to touch that again. Yeah, I'm curious to see what the other ones are doing. This guy, the Euro franc, technically, no, it didn't. It hasn't had a signal yet this morning, the Euro franc, to be honest. It's kind of crazy. And then the pound franc, let's see about that guy. Technically hasn't had the traditional signal yet either. Only the Euro pound has. And it may line up for round 2. Like, let's say it comes down. So maybe I should give it just that little extra space. I think I will, because I think there's a chance. Okay, so I'm going to do something. I'm going to move these stops back to below the support for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's possible, in the next 15, 20 minutes, we get a move back to this Bollinger Band, and then we get a move back up, right? So we closed 2 trades out for 6 or 7 pips a piece, and we're going to let these ones run a little bit longer. Now they're in they're just below break even. And I think this will be good. I know, like I said, there is a little order block that we talked about right here that might hold. We'll see how that does. But I just like the fact that it's lining up for an honest entry, because technically this was the opening of the hour right here, and I kind of pushed it because 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the hour, yes, there was a signal. So the true signal is actually lining up now. Like, as that hits that Bollinger Band, that's the signal right there. So that's what I'm going to do instead. And then again, I'm going to protect ourselves by, hey, I got my stop loss right here below this low, because we've already identified that the banks probably aren't going to help us out. If it goes below this low, they're probably just going to send it even lower, to be honest. So that's kind of our line in the sand. It's that low right there. I'm going to buy another one now that we just barely hit the lower Bollinger Band right there. I'm going to bring these targets to basically our most recent high right there. Bring this target in. There we go. And we may see another break lower just to kind of finish off that Bollinger Band. And those, I feel like those would be really good buys right in here. If it did that, we'll see what happens. Okay, we have like 10 or 15 minutes left. So we'll see if this falls through, or, we'll see what happens here. Yeah, I kind of feel like this is going to be one of those trades. It reminds me of the Aussie franc from Friday, I think it was. It's going to be one of those trades where it's just going to kind of fade up the rest of the afternoon slowly, just fade up. Or it's just going to go straight down. And again, I'd rather stop out there than hanging on. We've already established the fact that there's no help beyond that line. So we do have to take our loss if it does go there and be happy with it. Maybe not happy, but like content that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing or something like that. No one's happy when they take a loss, right? I don't know anybody that's happy when they take a loss. There, this looks good. And then I want this target right there. Oh, I got to move that other stop loss. I forgot this guy's down here. I got to move him up. All right. I'll probably stick around for another 5 minutes and then I'll go. And then, like I said, I'm going to post a signal, probably a swing trade. I think it's going to be on the Kiwi Franc unless I see something better. A lot of people are going to be like, why are you buying at resistance? Like, what are you doing? Like, trust me, this is going to be a good trade. It's technically not the true resistance. I mean, it's resistance if you're zoomed in, like if you've got your blinders on and you zoom in, it looks like resistance. But in reality, resistance is actually up here in this block of institutional trades. So we're not there yet, and we want to capture that. We're doing like a swing trading scalp. We're scalping the swing opportunity. And I'll look to see if there's a better trade option, but I wanted to take this one last night. I actually wanted to text you guys to take it, but I realized that for a lot of you, it was probably like On the East Coast, it was probably going to be like 1 in the morning. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting these calls from, in fact, I just got one. That's crazy. It says I just got a text message now. It's just, I keep getting these scam calls every day and it's really annoying. And I hung up on a scam call yesterday. Um, they keep telling me like that my identity's been stolen and that they're using it to smuggle drugs across the country. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's just some guy from India that's talking to me. It gets really annoying. But and what was I going to say? Oh, they're calling me now at 3 in the morning, my time, like 4 in the morning. I got a call and I leave my phone on. I'm one of those guys. I leave my ringer on because, I don't know. I'm just one of those guys where, if something happens, like a family member or something like that, I want to know about it. So I leave my phone on at night just because I want to know. And I'm just that way. And so, when these guys start calling me at 4 in the morning, it's just like, oh, geez, why are you doing that? Anyway, so it's getting kind of annoying. But I don't know, it's just been picking up a lot. I don't know if you guys have been getting a lot of those recently. I feel like a lot of people I talk to have been getting a lot of scam calls. So I'm a little tired right now. Yeah. What the heck? So weird. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Well, I'll probably wrap up, guys. So, um, let's see. The least they could do is wake you up for the Togo. Yeah, right. That's awesome. Well, I stayed up till I think 1 in the morning working on that USD CAD trade, putting in my stops and making sure everything looked good. And then I went to bed. Um, and then yeah, I got a call at 4. Like it was just okay, here we go, round 2. But yeah, cool. So I'm gonna leave this trade on. I like the way it's set up. So I got my stops in at 0.86, 800-ish. It's basically around the support. Again, I want to draw my line in the sand. We kind of established how there's no institutional help below this level. So if it does get there, just be content that we're not taking a massive loss. It's just a loss. We've already booked a little bit of profit today on that euro pound. We took a couple of trades positive. I'm going to leave this set up to go. Got some mixed targets up in here to let this kind of grind out the rest of the morning. We recapped the pound franc. That was a great trade we took last night. We're going to take more trades like that. And then you'll probably get a swing trade signal, and I'll mark that it's a swing trade for those that are not in the class and for those of you here as well, because it is going to be a difference. Like you're going to have trades. This is the type of trade that we're not done in 12 hours. Like it is going to be, maybe it could be 24 hours, maybe, but in reality, it's probably going to be like a 72-hour trade, on average, could be a little more than that too. So I'm excited. I'm going to post that trade or something like it. So be ready on the watch out for that. But other than that, guys, I really appreciate your attendance. I really appreciate you guys coming and taking the time out of your day to be here. It's super awesome that you'd come, and I'm looking forward to taking better trades with you guys. So thanks for coming, guys, and we'll see you in the next webinar.